Okay, this is the second part video. This just covers the bottom of the notes 8. It's not going to be a super long video. I just wanted to make sure it didn't get cut weirdly. So yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So we have 3 ways to create equations. First, from the y-intercept and a point. Second, from the slope and a point. And finally, from just 2 points. All 3 of these methods will allow you to create equations. Now, I'm going to give you a hint for the test, and if you're actually listening, this is a really, really big hint. And if you didn't listen, can't help you there. So, I'm going to show you the hard way to do this. There's a much easier method. On the test, it won't be with these questions. There will be a very, very large grid. You can plot your y-intercept and your points on this grid to find the slope. You can plot your point and use the slope to find your y-intercept. And you can plot 2 points to get the slope and then the y-intercept. You can use the big grid to answer all of these questions with very little effort. That's my hint for the test. That's my big, big hint. If you're watching the video, you'll get it. If not, you won't. So let's say you want to do the actual work. You want to actually solve all these equations. Well, the process is pretty straightforward. We're going to start with getting the y-intercept and a point. It tells you what to do right here. If you already have the y-intercept, to get the y equals equation, all you have to do is use the slope formula on the y-intercept and your point. I'm actually going to do this one first. So right now, we have the y-intercept. So we know our equation is going to be y equals mx plus 1, because 1 is our y-intercept. We need this. Okay. Ooh, that's really blurry. Okay. To get our slope, we just use the slope formula. So I'm going to pick a new and an old point. And I just do 6 minus 1 over 5 minus 0. Okay, 6 minus 1 is 5. 5 minus 0 is also 5. My slope here is 1. So plugging this into my y equals equation, I get y equals 1x plus 1, or just y equals x plus 1. The 1 goes away because it's next to the x. So for this first one here, my y-intercept is 3, so I know I have y equals mx plus 3. But to do the slope formula, I have to know that this point is 0, 3. Like so. Okay. Now to do the slope formula, all I have to do is pick my old and new point. I have a new here, old there. I end up doing 7 minus 3 over negative 2 minus 0. 4 on top, negative 2 on the bottom. This turns out to be negative 2, which is my slope. Okay, so my final equation is y equals negative 2x plus 3. I'll go ahead and box these to show you that they are answers. Okay, so if you have the y-intercept, you can use the slope formula to get the slope. If you're given the slope, we have to solve for b to get our y-intercept. So we have slope of 2, point of 1, 1. Let's go ahead and plug in what we have. I have y equals 2x plus b. Now, to get my b, I have to go ahead and plug in this point to my y and my x. So I'm going to replace my y with 1. Keep my 2 for slope. And I'm going to replace my x also with 1. Okay. 2 times 1 is just going to be 2. Okay. To get b, I just subtract 2 from both sides. This ends up with negative 1 equals b. So, now I have my b, I have my slope. All I have to do is y equals 2x minus 1. This is my final answer. I replace my slope. I replace my y-intercept. Let's do the same process again. My original equation is going to be y equals slope of negative 3, x plus b. I don't have my y-intercept. I plug in my x, I plug in my y. 3 equals negative 3 times negative 2 plus b. Okay, so I end up with multiplying this here. I still have 3 on the left. I have positive 6. The negatives cancel out. Then to get b, I just subtract 6 from both sides. 3 minus 6 is going to be negative 3 equals b. So my final equation is going to be y equals negative 3x minus 3. On the test, make sure you plug in everything to get your y equals answer at the end. If you don't do that, you will not get it right. Lastly, we get an equation from 2 points. We have to do the slope formula to get the slope, and then we do what we just did above to get the y-intercept. We need slope and y-intercept. Okay, so with both of those established, we go ahead and do our slope formula. I'm going to pick an old point and a new point. It's going to be 4 minus 3 over 6 minus 3, giving us 1 on top, 3 on the bottom. That's going to be our slope. Okay, that means the equation we have right now is going to be y equals 1/3 x plus b. I'm going to use this point right here, the 3, 3. So I'm plugging my 3 in for y, and 3 in for x plus b. 1/3 of 3 is just going to be 1. Okay? To figure out b, all I do is I subtract 1 from both sides, giving me 2 equals b. So now I have slope, I have b. My new equation is going to be y equals 1/3 x plus 2. Let's do that one more time here. So we need the slope. That means we're going to do the slope formula. I do negative 5 minus 5 over 1 minus negative 1. We end up with negative 10 on top, 2 on bottom, or just negative 5. Negative 5 is our slope. Ooh, there you go. Sorry about that. Negative 5 is our slope. Now that we have that, I'm going to set up my equation. Y equals negative 5x plus b. And then to solve, I'm going to pick one of these points. I'm going to do this one. I replace my y with 5. Keep my negative 5 for slope. I replace my x with negative 1 plus b. Keep my 5. Negative 5 times negative 1 is just going to be 5. The negatives cancel out. Then I subtract 5 from both sides. That means my final answer, b is going to equal 0. So I have a slope of 5, negative 5, a b of 0. That means my y equals equation is going to be negative 5x plus 0, or just y equals negative 5x. The 0 cancels out. Now, I know that was a lot. Practice this. Go through your old notes. I can help you however you need me to. On the tests, these are going to be broken down into several steps, so even if you don't know the entire process, do as much as you can. I know you can do it. So that's all for this set of notes. As always, let me know if you have any questions, and thank you very, very much.